Coach, I was sitting there looking at this year's roster right now with William there. This is really going to be a junior-led team, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah, six scholarship seniors on the whole roster, and I think we have 4 walk-on seniors, so 10 total guys that you could say is a senior. We got a couple of juniors that I think have a chance to graduate in December. I think Christian's got a chance to graduate in December in 2.5 years. I think he only needs 10 hours to do that in the fall, which is unbelievable. So yeah, 27 juniors on scholarship, and probably I think it's about 21 sophomores, or is that what it is? So we're a big time junior sophomore team, I always value the senior because those are the guys that are usually the most invested, because they usually bring a great sense of urgency because they can see the end of the tunnel quick coming their way, and they just think differently, as opposed to when you're a sophomore, or freshman, or sometimes even a junior, if you know you're going to be back. But I love the makeup of our team because I think, we got a bunch of guys that have gotten some great experience over the last couple of years. We didn't have a lot of seniors last year. We had, I think it was like 22 juniors and seniors combined last year, which hence the small number this year. So a small group, which means, again, we've got a lot of guys on this roster that have played a lot of games. In that junior class, they're basically like, juniors and a half, because they've played 30 games in 2 years. So they've got a lot of experience in big-time games. They understand what it takes, and there's a bunch of good players in that group. So that'll definitely be the group that'll have to kind of lead the way, along with those few seniors that we have. But we got a lot of great guys in that sophomore class. Some guys that got tons of great experience, like Khalid. But then we also got other guys that are just like chomping at the bit to go prove that they can be an elite player, like Tanner Muse, for example. Guys that played, guys that made impacts. Tanner blocks a punt. He had a pick 6 last year. He had some moments, but he learned how to play, and he came out of the season with a different mindset. And so now he wants a bigger role, and so there's a hunger. Yeah, well, he's happy he was on a national championship team last year, but man, he wants to go be a guy. He wants to be an every down player. He wants to play more snaps, and so I love that sense of urgency that we have scattered all throughout the roster. I think that's something that will bode well for us.
Coach, you had, I believe, 4 players transfer this year. Hopper transferred last year. Is that just a byproduct of how well you recruited and the depth that you had? And is that becoming more the norm? And do you manage your numbers and your scholarship offers based on that?
Your roster management is we pretty much recruit to our number. You always kind of will, you can jockey with a number or two, but for us, we don't get a lot of attrition. And even the guys that do transfer, they're graduates. We had a few guys leave this year, but Baker was a graduate, Pagano was a graduate, Corinne was a graduate, and Tyshawn was a graduate. And these are all great kids. And people have different reasons for their personal decisions and things like that. But the main thing for me is these guys earning their degree from Clemson, and that's what those guys have done. And then occasionally you have some discipline issues, or you just have some guys that will just say, you know what, I want a different start for whatever reason, or it could be the competitiveness of it, and they do want a chance to play. And that's kind of where Tyshawn was. Tyshawn, he loves Clemson. I think he made a 3.75 this spring semester. But here's a kid that y'all know he's kind of been through a lot since he's been there, and he needs a chance to really be the guy. This is his one chance, and he was going to really have to split that here. He knows that. He would have played. Well, man, I'd love to have had him, but this is hopefully going to give him an opportunity to be the featured guy a little bit more, and which will give him, the chance that, hey, that he wants to maybe have a chance to play at the next level, give him a little more tape. So I understand that. It's not a problem.
Speaking of leadership, there's not many seniors, a lot of juniors. You don't have an established quarterback. So who are some of the non-quarterback offensive veterans you're looking to step up, be vocal now that Eric's gone, Jay's gone, a lot of your high producers are gone?
Yeah, well, we do have a good group around whoever the quarterback's going to be. I mean, we've got some proven guys outside. I think we got our backs are going to be outstanding, but it's going to start with the offensive line. I mean, this will be, in my opinion, the best line we've had. We lost one guy off a national championship team. And, you know, right now the guy that's taking his place is a fourth-year junior in Falcinelli, who got a ton of experience. You know, and then so you basically got all your guys back. And, you know, Falcinelli played a lot. Maverick Morris is an incredibly valuable player to us. And then you had 3 true freshmen that played last year, 2 of them that started at different times, and Sean Pollard, Tremaine Ankrum, and John Simpson. And so, no, those three guys are now sophomores. They've played 15 games against high level of competition on the practice field and on game day. So, the versatility that we're going to have in that offensive line and the depth and the knowledge and experience is where it's going to all start. Those are the guys that, as they go, we go. And so that's the good news for the quarterback. So it's not like you got a new quarterback coming in that's going to have to run for his life because he ain't got a left tackle or he's got a freshman left tackle. We don't have that situation. So hopefully those guys will step up and provide vocal leadership, but also just that kind of calming force for that quarterback position as it unfolds.
Speaking of those quarterbacks, Coach Streeter was saying that competition could go well into the season if need be. He told me that he wasn't averse to playing 2 quarterbacks in a tight game if the situation calls for it. Is that the way you feel as well?
Yeah, I mean, I just think we got to go with how it plays out. And, I mean, and if guys deserve to play, you got to play them. If it's just clear cut, then that's where it is. But if you've got 2 or 3 guys that deserve the opportunity to continue to compete for the job, you have to give them the opportunity to do that. Again, y'all have heard me say this many times. There's a reason the NFL has 4 preseason games, because they got to figure it out. Because you can't figure it all out at every position in practice. You know, you just can't. And sometimes you just got to get guys out there. Some guys just, the lights come on, they kind of shut down a little bit. Some guys, when the lights come on, they rise up a little bit more. Or you know, when the decision making is the most critical, you just find out a lot more. And you try to create every situation you can possibly create in practice. And we went live, I think, 3 times last year, and just even in the spring game, and just trying to, you know, help ourselves out a little bit and give those guys, you know, the best chance to go compete. And so I like, you know, how we came out of the spring, but you know, with a whole month to go, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, we're like everybody else. I mean, because all we can do is evaluate and grade the tape every day and hold them accountable and create competitive, you know, situations, you know, all the way through. But about 10 days out, you know, we got to hone in on 2 guys. The third guy's not going to get quite as many reps. We got to get 3 ready, but we got to get 2, you know, showing up ready to go. And then, you know, depending on where we are with that, we'll go from there. You know, it's different. A lot of people will refer back to when Deshaun came in and Cole. Similar in some ways, but it's really more different. You know, Cole's a proven 3-year player. I mean, he played a ton of football, and he'd played some big-time winning football for us in critical situations. And you know, Deshaun was a long way away physically. You know, when, you know, broken collarbone, he was 180 pounds. He had a lot to do from April to August. Well, so you have a kind of a starting point, and he just kind of just went and got Cole. Cole didn't do anything wrong. But then all of a sudden the pressure of that situation, and then we get, so now to the point that we're like, okay, well, I mean, heck, we're opening up at Georgia. And we're like, all right, well, we're going to have to play the guy. We're going to play him a couple of series. That was kind of, you know, Chad had brought that to me, and I'm like, hey, I'm good with it. Let's go. And so, you know, and in that game, a couple things didn't go Cole's way. We had some drops early and things, but, you know, next game, we kind of balanced it out a little bit more. And then maybe the next, I think it was the third game maybe, we're in Tallahassee, and it just kind of happened. And it's got to be that way for the team. You can't anoint somebody. You can't say, okay, this is your job, unless that's just, you don't have anybody and guys are hurt or something like that. You just got to name somebody. But when you got a really competitive situation, you have to, for the chemistry of your team, the culture of your team, guys got to go earn it. And, so we'll see how it all plays out. Kelly, as y'all have heard me say, is the guy going in. And again, if we laid the ball down right now, he gives us the best chance to win today. A lot of stuff to go between now and then, and I'm anxious to see where those guys are. It's going to be pretty obvious who's put the work in, because if they don't have true ownership of what we did all spring and summer, then that's sending me a pretty loud message. But I know that these guys have all worked really, really hard. They all want to be the guy, and the good news is they're all good people. I mean, these are good people that want to go lead the Tigers, and it just only one of them's going to run out there, but they also know whoever runs out there has to perform at a high level and a consistent level, because it's not a lifetime contract. It's just every week is evaluation at every position, and really quarterback is no different. You don't want to have anybody out there feeling like, oh, if I make a mistake, you're going to get yanked out of the game. That's not what you want, but you got to have a good, fair process, and we'll have that and see how it all plays. But if it takes playing 2 guys, 3 guys,